Hello, everybody. I'm Josh Nealis, owner of Cutthroat Comics and Publishing, and thought I'd talk to you guys today about comic collecting and how to kind of figure out how much a comic is actually worth before you buy it. So everybody's got their own way of doing this. I think I like to go a little more in depth before I buy something, especially if it's $40 and up. So I'm kind of cheap, and I'm always looking for the best deal. So here's kind of what I do to figure out if I'm getting a good deal or not. Stay tuned.
Woo! That's my shit.
So anyway, the first thing I do, obviously you pick a comic you want. Let's say you're looking for Amazing Spider-Man 252, which is the first appearance of the black suit. And I have that one here, so I'm going to use it as an example. So that came out in 1984, I believe, right? Let me check here. So here's the book. I'll just show it to you now. There's the book that I own, signed by Stan Lee, graded. It's a CGC 8.5. Yeah, it came out in 84. Okay, so 8.5 for 84. So when I am going to buy a book, so let's say, it's from the 60s, okay? So the acceptable grade for me, is around a 4. I don't think I'd really want to go below a 4 on a book. That's getting pretty low, I think, and it won't be much value to me below that. Now, if it's an ungraded book, I would have to see it in person before I bought it. So I wouldn't buy something like that off eBay ungraded. Not to say that you won't buy something off eBay and it get to you and you're like, oh, this is totally exactly what I thought it would be. To me, that's too big of a risk for that old of a book. And a lot of times you're going to pay, more than $40 for something like that. So for me, I'm not going to buy. I have in the past. I got a couple that I bought off eBay like that, and I'm not saying, I didn't get what I bought, but it's risky to do that. So you can do that if you want. So okay, let's say I'm gonna buy Edge of Spider-Verse 2, first appearance of Spider-Gwen. Okay, so for me, acceptable grade on that is like 9.4 and up. And honestly, I might not even buy a 9.4. It's probably got to be a 9.6 and up. That's graded. Now, a loose one, if I can look at it in person and it looks good, then I probably would buy it, as long as the price is right. So I've seen that book going for over $100 typically. I'm not going to pay that. I'm not. I would pay about $50 for that book. If it's like a 9.8, I maybe would go 100. Okay, if it's graded at a 9.8. Loose, 50. And here's why. That's a new book-ish, okay? It came, I don't know when it came out, but within the last 5-7 years or whatever. I think it just came out like 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm not going to pay top dollar for a new book. That's just me. I don't feel like they've earned that value yet. Maybe in the future, 20 years down the line, if I've never bought that book and I see it for $100, I probably would buy it for that price. I bought a 9.4 Gambit, first appearance. I bought it for $130. Okay. Earlier today, I saw somebody was selling a 9.8 Iron Fist 14, which is first appearance of Sabretooth, and they were selling it for $2,000. It's fucking Sabretooth. Sabretooth is not at any point worth $2,000. I don't care who you are, even if it's like your favorite character of all time. I don't care if it's graded 9.8. Now, you get 2 or 3 signatures on it, maybe we're talking that, but probably not. It's going to have to be signed by like Stan Lee, Barack Obama, fucking Clark Gable, and like fucking real life Spider-Man for it to be worth $2,000. A Sabretooth, whether it's a 9.8 or not, is not worth $2,000. 400 is about what that's worth. Now, that's going to vary person to person. Maybe somebody would pay that. I wouldn't on any day. Even if I was a millionaire, I would laugh in somebody's face if they're trying to sell me that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, and this goes out to the sellers out there. I understand you have to make money. I get that. But I've seen some ridiculous shit on eBay. And, people will put like 30 grand on books that are worth like 5 grand. What are you trying to do here? You're trying to find some sucker that's going to buy that. And that's A, wrong, B, greedy. And you're hurting all of us. Because as a buyer, let's say some sucker does buy that. Okay? Now, the price of that book, if somebody goes and looks up on eBay the last 5 that are sold. Well, this one went for 30 grand and this one went for 5. Okay, what are they going to do? They're going to hit it at 20. You're hurting all of us and you're hurting yourself because you're going to sell more books when your prices are lower than you are when it's higher. Fact, right? So if you're a seller, and I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm not saying you're a bad person, but try to be reasonable, okay? Just help us all out. Help the community out and help yourself out. Just in the last year, and I'm not the only one that's noticed this, but I've noticed books are getting more expensive. I don't know if people are buying more books because of some reason, but and I just ate some spicy stuff, so my nose is running a little bit. But okay, I saw an 8.5 Moon Knight somewhere for $1,500. This was in a store, and I went on eBay when I got home, and it was $1,000 on eBay. Same thing, 8.5. Werewolf by Night 32, by the way, is what I'm talking about. Absolutely not. At any point, even if he gets a show or a movie, is fucking Moon Knight worth $1,500, let alone $1,000. He's like a C-level character, and I know people like him, and that's great. But absolutely not. You should not be charging that for fucking Moon Knight. Okay? An 8.5 Moon. When did that come out? 70s sometime. 600. Let's meet in the middle somewhere at 600. For an 8.5. Now you get a 9.8. You might find somebody that'll buy it for $1,000, but even that person's like a Gambit. I bought a Gambit for $130. Nowhere is fucking Moon Knight better than Gambit. And yes, that's my opinion, and maybe people will disagree, but you look at the popularity of the character. Gambit's at least been on TV shows and in a movie, and he's also awesome, and Moon Knight is okay at best. So if you're selling books and stuff, come on, let's be real here. Stop trying to make a killing off one book. Set your prices reasonable, because let's say you set it at $600 for that Moon Knight, and you've got a Sabretooth sitting next to it for, 500 or 400, man. You could probably sell both books. You're moving stock. You're probably going to double your money on whatever you paid. Let's be reasonable here. Stop gouging people, please. I'm asking you, because you're going to help me out. Because when I go on eBay, and I'm looking for a book, and it's freaking crazy expensive, I'm not going to buy that. And some people will, I guess, but let's be real here. So anyway, so I said I bought this Amazing Spider-Man 252, it's 8.5, signed by Stan Lee. Okay? That's the signature when it comes to comics, right? I think that's the gold standard. Got a gold label. I paid $250 for this plus shipping. It was like $260 something. So how did I break that down, and how did I decide that that was a good price? Okay, the book itself. First off, what you do, I bought it off eBay. Okay, so you go on eBay, you look for that book, and you try to find the best deal. If that's an 8.5 for $250, and somebody's got a 9.4 for $250, also signed, you buy the 9.4. Obviously, you figure that out. Also, there's an app I use. It's called Key Collector Comics. It's free to download. It has absolutely saved me money, because when I'm out in a shop somewhere, I can sign on to that app and look at what a book's worth before I buy it. So you should get that app. He's a nice guy that runs it. It's been around a couple months, and he adds stuff all the time. Okay, so eBay, look at that app, Key Collector Comics, and that'll give you kind of a general idea of what you're looking at. Okay, so this one has the signature on it. Okay, last I knew, and I'm sure it varies from place to place, but I think Stanley's charging like $75 for an autograph, right? Something like that, give or take. Not to mention, you'd have to stand in line. You'd have to go to the place where it's at. You're probably gonna have to buy a ticket if it's a con. You're gonna have to stand in line for fucking 3 hours. Okay, so I look at what I make per hour, and I go, okay, what's 3 hours of my time worth? Okay, so what I get paid at my job is not what I get paid when I'm sitting on my couch like I'm doing now. So let's pretend my time is worth $10 an hour, regardless of what I'm doing. Okay, so there's $30 of 3 hours standing in line, plus the 75. You're over $100. The book, according to Key Collector Comics, is worth $55 loose in good shape. Okay, this is good shape. We'll call that good shape. 8.5. I think anything about 7.5 and higher is going to be good shape. Then it drops down from there. Okay, so $55 plus 75 plus my time. I mean, you're looking at about $200 roughly. Not to mention, it's been graded, so you got to add in what the person originally paid for the grading. Okay, so $20 for shipping there and back, plus what, like 50 or whatever they charge. Who knows? So around 250 is about what that exact book is worth. Something like that. Okay, so that's how I gather whether or not it's a good deal or not. So that's where I'm at. That's how I kind of judge what a book is worth. And that's how you should do it too. Ultimately, it's a buyer's market when you're buying comic books. And we've got to stop paying outrageous prices for things. Just because you want a book, like that Sabretooth I'm talking about, just because you want that book, don't pay $2,000 for a fucking Sabretooth. Get the fuck out of here, even if it is a 9.8. No. Tell the person no, you're high, and fucking tell them $400 and that's where you're at, and tell them to fuck off if they say no. Okay, I think I'm done ranting. And like I said, if you're a seller, I'm not trying to be a dick, but some of you guys need to check yourself because you're riggedy wrecking the market, and it's making everybody kind of pissed off.